The Middle East is a place of great extremes. Its geography is defined by vast, harsh deserts and life-giving rivers. For thousands of years, this landscape has shaped the lives of everyone who calls it home. The Great Arabian Desert, the Rub al-Khali, stretches for thousands of kilometers, a sea of sand where survival is a daily challenge. Then there are the rugged mountains like the Zagros in Iran and the Taurus in Turkey, which have always been natural barriers separating peoples and cultures. This difficult terrain has made connection and control a constant struggle throughout the region's long and complicated history. But in this harsh land, there was also a place of incredible fertility. This was Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, in what is now modern-day Iraq. It is often called the cradle of civilization. Here, early humans learned to farm the rich soil. They built the world's first cities, like Ur and Babylon. They invented writing and created complex laws. These rivers were the lifeblood of ancient societies, allowing great empires to rise from the dust. The contrast between the fertile river valleys and the empty desert created a world where control over water meant control over life itself, a reality that still holds true today. The desert, however, was not just an empty space, it was home to nomadic peoples, the Bedouin, who adapted brilliantly to its challenges. They moved with their herds, following the scarce rain and grazing lands. Their culture was built on independence, loyalty to the tribe, and incredible resilience. These desert tribes often had a complex relationship with the settled peoples of the river valleys and cities. Sometimes they traded, other times they raided. This timeless tension between the settled city dweller and the wandering nomad is a fundamental part of the Middle East story, shaping its politics, its culture, and its identity for millennia. This geography did more than just create different ways of life. It made the Middle East a crossroads. It connects Africa, Asia, and Europe. For centuries, this strategic location made it a vital center for trade and a battleground for empires. The Romans, Persians, Ottomans, and later European powers all fought to control this land bridge. They sought to command its trade routes like the ancient Silk Road and to dominate its people. The very ground, from the riverbanks to the mountain passes, is soaked in history and conflict, a legacy of its permanent position at the center of the world. The Middle East is not one single place with one type of person. It is a rich and complex mosaic of different ethnic and religious groups. The majority of people are Arabs, but there are also large populations of Persians in Iran, Turks in Turkey, and Kurds, who are a large nation without a country of their own, spread across Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. These groups have their own languages, histories, and cultural traditions. This diversity has created a vibrant and dynamic region, but it has also been a source of tension, especially when one group tries to dominate another or when outside forces exploit these differences. Religion adds another layer of complexity. While most people in the region are Muslim, Islam itself is divided into two main branches, Sunni and Shia. This split happened centuries ago over who should lead the faith after the Prophet Muhammad. Today, this division is a major political fault line. Countries like Saudi Arabia see themselves as the leader of the Sunni world, while Iran is the most powerful Shia nation. This rivalry affects politics across the entire region, from the civil war in Syria to the political instability in Iraq and Lebanon. Christians and Jews, though now minorities, also have ancient roots here, adding to the intricate social fabric. This already complex situation was made much worse after the First World War. The victorious European powers, mainly Britain and France, carved up the defeated Ottoman Empire. They drew straight lines on a map, creating new countries like Iraq, Syria, and Jordan. These colonial borders were created to serve European interests, not the needs of the people living there. They paid no attention to the existing tribal territories, ethnic populations, or religious communities. As a result, rival groups were forced together into a single state, while other groups, like the Kurds, found themselves split across several new countries, their dreams of a homeland shattered. These artificial borders are a source of many of the Middle East's modern conflicts. They created states that lacked a strong national identity and were often difficult to govern without force. Dictators often rose to power by exploiting these divisions, favoring their own ethnic or religious group while suppressing others. The borders divided more than just land, they divided peoples and planted the seeds of future wars. The struggle for identity and power within these colonial-era boundaries is a story that continues to unfold in violence and instability across the region today, a direct legacy of foreign intervention. In the early 20th century, a discovery was made that would change the Middle East and the world forever: oil. Huge reserves of this black gold were found under the desert sands, particularly in the Arabian Peninsula and the Persian Gulf. Suddenly, a region that many in the West saw as a remote backwater became critically important to the industrialized world. Cars, factories, and armies all ran on oil, and the Middle East had more of it than anywhere else on Earth. This discovery brought unimaginable wealth to the rulers of countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. This new wealth transformed the region, but it was a double-edged sword. On one hand, oil money funded the construction of modern cities, hospitals, and schools. It allowed rulers to provide generous benefits to their citizens and build powerful armies. However, this wealth also made the Middle East a major prize in global politics. Foreign powers, especially the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, became deeply involved in the region. They supported friendly regimes, no matter how undemocratic, to ensure the oil kept flowing. This foreign interference often destabilized the region even further, propping up dictators and fueling local rivalries. Certain places in the region became globally important because of oil. The most critical of these is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway between Iran and Oman. Around a fifth of the world's oil supply passes through this strait every day. This makes it one of the most strategic and potentially dangerous choke points on the planet. Any conflict that threatens to close the Strait of Hormuz could cause a global economic crisis. This gives countries like Iran enormous leverage, but also makes the area a flashpoint for international tension, with naval patrols from world powers constantly monitoring the waterway. The oil wealth has also created massive inequality. While ruling families and connected elites have become incredibly rich, many ordinary people have been left behind. In some oil-rich nations, the money has been used to keep the population quiet and avoid political reform. In other countries without oil, people look on with envy, creating more tension. This dependence on oil, often called the resource curse, has prevented the development of other parts of the economy. It has linked the region's fate to the global price of oil, and made it a permanent arena for geopolitical competition and conflict. Today, when you look at parts of the Middle East, you see a vision of the future. Gleaming skyscrapers like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai rise out of the desert. Massive shopping malls, artificial islands, and ambitious mega-projects showcase incredible wealth and ambition. Cities like Doha and Abu Dhabi have become global hubs for finance, travel, and luxury tourism. This astonishing development is funded almost entirely by oil and gas revenue. It represents a powerful effort by Gulf rulers to build modern economies that can survive after the oil runs out, projecting an image of progress and stability to the rest of the world. However, this shiny surface hides deep and persistent problems. The wealth is not shared equally. For every citizen enjoying a comfortable life, there are millions of migrant workers from South Asia and Africa living in poor conditions, doing the hard labor that builds and maintains these futuristic cities. In many countries, the oil money flows to a small ruling elite, while large parts of the population face unemployment and a lack of opportunity. This creates a dangerous social pressure cooker where frustration and resentment can easily boil over into protest and unrest, as seen during the Arab Spring. The old problems of geography and history have not gone away. The colonial borders drawn a century ago continue to cause conflict. Groups like the Kurds are still fighting for a homeland, and the Sunni-Shia divide continues to fuel proxy wars between Saudi Arabia and Iran across the region. The competition for scarce resources, especially water, is becoming more intense as populations grow and climate change makes the region even drier. These ancient and modern challenges are all interconnected, creating a cycle of instability that is incredibly difficult to break. The new cities may be modern, but the old divisions remain as powerful as ever. Ultimately, the story of the Middle East is one of a constant struggle between its past and its future. The borders on the map divide more than just territory. They cut through communities and create an environment where trust is scarce and conflict is common. The wealth from oil has brought modernity, but has also attracted foreign interference and deepened internal inequalities. For the ordinary people living in this complex region, life is shaped by these powerful forces. Finding a way for Arabs, Persians, Turks, Kurds, Sunnis, and Shias to live together peacefully remains the single greatest challenge in this vital and troubled part of the world.